Well, technically, my fishing season never ends, but during January and February, it certainly does slow down. This is an important time of year for me to start gearing up for the spring. The hatch season starts in March, and I want to be ready to go. So stick around today, and I'm going to show you my process for getting all of my fly boxes ready for the season, and I'm going to show you how you can access a downloadable fly chart that you can customize to make sure that you have all the flies that you need when you're out on the water. Hey, thanks for joining me today. I'm Jeff Smecker from troutstrike.com. And before we get into today's topic, I want to thank all of you for the amazing discussion that we had about options for fluorocarbon. I'm going to link the original video and a follow-up article that I wrote to summarize everyone's comments and thoughts on that topic in the description below. I learned a ton from that conversation, and I think you will too. So check out the video if you haven't seen it. Also, the follow-up article gives a lot more ideas, insights that I think you're going to find super helpful. All right, now for today's topic. So if you're anything like me, during the season, your fly boxes can take just a real beating. I'm not always the best about making sure that the flies that I've used get back into the right place. You lose a lot of flies, they get unorganized. So now is a great time to get that in order. So whether you tie all of your own flies, whether you purchase your flies or somewhere in between, it's good to have a checklist or a system, something to help you know that your boxes are stocked with the basics of what you're going to need on the water. And I always think about this time of year, again, because I know hatch season is coming and I want to be ready. I've created a chart that matches my needs on the river for how I tend to fish. This chart is broken into categories, and each fly is linked to a video tutorial to tie it. I use this to help manage my personal fly inventory. Later in the video, I'll explain how you can download a customizable copy of this chart to match your needs as an angler. This chart is a reflection of me as an angler. The nymph section is the largest because that's the style I fish the most. I recently released a video that takes an in-depth look into my nymph box. There's a link in the description if you want to check that video out. Unlike some of the dry flies on my list, I carry most of these nymph patterns all year long. Again, each fly is linked to a video tutorial. Even with some of my own flies, it helps to go back and watch them be tied again. The next section shows the dry flies that I like to carry. Keep in mind, I don't carry all of these patterns throughout the entire season. Some of these patterns are very specific in matching certain hatches. For example, I don't need to carry Hendricksons or sulfurs all year long. However, many of the dry fly patterns I carry are more general. So I do carry a lot of them throughout the year. If you're primarily a dry fly angler, your chart may look a lot more specific in this category, which is why I want to provide a chart that you can customize to fit your needs. So stick around and I will show you how you can do that. The bottom sections of my chart show emergers, junk flies, streamers, and terrestrials. I don't carry a ton of these types of patterns, but that doesn't mean I don't fish them a lot. For example, I use jig streamers all the time. Admittedly, my streamer game is something I want to develop more. But as far as terrestrials go, I have a lot of confidence in ant patterns. I don't get a lot of opportunities to use things like big hoppers. So I try to stick to things that I know how to tie and that I have confidence in. I've limited my selection of junk flies as well. However, I get a lot of mileage out of the few patterns I have listed. I spend entire winters with an ecstasy egg on my line and summers using a green weenie. All right, so I have shown you my process for starting to get my fly boxes organized and make sure that I have everything in them that I'm going to need for hatch season. And in the next segment, I'm going to explain how you can download that chart and either use it as is, or you can customize it and make it your own. But before we do that, what I want to ask you to do is share some of your thoughts and share your process. When we did the video on fluorocarbon, I had over 100 comments to that video, and the insights, the ideas were just so valuable. I'd really like to generate that discussion again. I want to hear, how do you do this? How do you use this time of year to start getting ready for the main part of the season? So go ahead and drop some of your thoughts and comments below. I'd really appreciate that. And then if I get enough of them, what I'll do is I'll kind of summarize it and put a follow-up article out so that everybody can see and learn from each other. Okay, so here's how you can download the Flybox chart to make it your own. Start by going to troutstrike.com, then click on the Resources tab. From there, you're going to find a link to the chart. Once you click that link, you're going to get prompted to make a copy. Make the copy, and then you're going to have access to the same chart with all of the links to the video tutorials. You can feel free to use it as is, or you can customize it and edit it to fit your needs on the river. There's also a link to this video's companion article in the description. You can find a link in that article as well. All right, well, I want to thank you again for tuning in today. If this video was helpful, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. You can also follow me at TroutStrike on Instagram and Facebook. Hey, remember, this is a great time of year to start getting ready for the season. The more you do now to prepare, the more fish you can expect in the net come spring. So tight lines, everyone, and make sure you're getting out on the water.